Welcome to the Deep Dive. We sort through articles, notes, research. Basically, we do the reading to bring the most compelling insights right to you. Today, we're doing a really big deep dive into Ron Chernow's new biography, Mark Twain. It just came out May 13th, 2025. Our mission, if you will, to really unpack Samuel Langhorne Clemens, the man we all know as Mark Twain. We want to pull out the key nuggets from what Chernow calls this sweeping, richly detailed portrait.
Yes.
And look, this isn't just about Tom Sawyer or Huck Finn, right? It's about getting to grips with the complex, often contradictory, very human person behind that iconic name. Okay, so Chernow, he's famous for these multi-layered portraits. With Twain, what's the kind of the core idea he wants us to get about this man behind the myth?
Yeah, absolutely. Chernow argues right from the start that, look, Twain was so much more than just a writer. He lays him out as this restless traveler, a failed businessman, a heartbroken father, a celebrity performer, and, importantly, a biting satirist of American hypocrisy. And he has this one quote that it really nails Twain's contradictions. Let me find it. Here. Twain was the jester who exposed the empire's lies, the cynic who could not stop hoping, and the orphan who made a nation laugh at itself, all while carrying his own private grief.
Wow, that quote. It really hits hard, doesn't it? It makes you think, I mean, if someone like Mark Twain, this figure everyone loves, carried that much private grief, those contradictions, what does that suggest about the hidden stuff we all deal with? You really see the universal in his specific struggles. It's quite something. Okay, let's talk about Chernow himself for a second, the biographer. We know he does exhaustive research, but what is it about his take on Twain that makes this book feel, well, significant, maybe even groundbreaking?
Right. And meticulous is the word. Chernow's method involves drawing from unpublished letters, diaries, family archives, and exhaustive historical research. Just mountains of stuff. Yeah. But it's not just about piling up facts. It lets him give us this fresh and intimate look at Twain's personal contradictions, literary genius, and social legacy. What really makes it stand out, I think, and gives it those genuinely original insights is how he uses these new primary sources. They really light up Twain's inner emotional life in a way we maybe haven't seen quite so clearly before.
Okay, so he's got all this detail from news sources. Yep. But Chernow's also known for his writing, right? That sort of lyrical style. Does he manage to, weave all that research into a story that flows, or does it get bogged down?
That's the key question, isn't it? And I think that's where Chernow excels. His writing style, it doesn't just dump information on you. It really combines storytelling with historical depth. It makes it, an extraordinary achievement in literary biography, much like, his books on Hamilton or Grant. Now about getting bogged down. Look, it's a long book. Over 700 pages. So yeah, it's dense. It might feel a bit much for someone just looking for a quick read on Twain, but that sheer thoroughness, that depth is exactly what makes it so important, I think. It's definitely going to appeal more to real history lovers who want that deep dive rather than maybe a casual fan.
So Chernow gives us this fresh look at the man. But to really get the writer, we need to go back to the start. What experiences in Twain's early life really forged that unique, unmistakable voice?
Absolutely crucial period. His early life and rise to fame. Well, he was born in Missouri, 1835, and significantly raised in a slaveholding town. That context is vital. His early jobs were so formative. First, a printer's apprentice, learning about words and typesetting, and then, famously, a riverboat pilot. And these weren't just jobs, they were immersions into American life, language, the different types of people. Chernow argues these experiences were absolutely essential. They helped him found his voice as a humorist and journalist in the American West. That's where it all started. Right,
so from the river, from printing, emerges this humorist, this journalist. But here's where it gets really interesting, I think. This incredible literary success arrives almost side by side with huge personal and financial challenges. It's such a stark contrast.
It's genuinely astonishing, the speed of it all, the success and struggles. I mean, think about the celebrated jumping frog of Calaveras County. It basically made him famous overnight. Imagine that. Going from, relative obscurity to literary star, boom, just like that.
Hard to fathom, really.
And then Tom Sawyer, Huckleberry Finn, Life on the Mississippi, just legendary works, one after another. He reaches this incredible peak. But at the same time, he's heading for complete financial disaster, mostly because of terrible investments. The big one, notoriously, was the Page typesetter.
Yes, the typesetter, that infamous machine.
Infamous is right. Incredibly complex, ultimately a failure, and it swallowed his money. And his time, a huge drain. So this wasn't just like a bad investment, it was catastrophic. It forced him, the world's most famous author, to go on these punishing worldwide lecture tours just to pay off his debts.
Wow, lecturing to pay debts.
Exactly. So you have this global icon who is simultaneously this, well, tragic figure, financially speaking. The genius that made him famous couldn't save him from very real, very human financial ruin. That's quite a story.
Such a stark contrast, yeah. Literary giant, yet scrambling to pay bills. But then, even beyond the money, came these deep personal losses, things that really defined his later years. Chernow must cover this with quite a bit of sensitivity.
Oh, definitely. And it raises these huge questions about, the human cost of his life, his fame. The family and personal turmoil section is, well, it's tough reading. He married Olivia Langdon, who came from a very different background, a refined abolitionist from a wealthy New York family, a fascinating match in itself. But the real crushing blows came later. The deaths of 3 of his 4 children and his wife. I mean, can you imagine?
Unthinkable grief.
Utterly. And Chernow shows how this period, understandably, led to serious mental health battles, grief, and existential questioning, especially in his later years. It fundamentally reshaped him. You see it in his later, much darker writing.
So you have the literary success, the financial ruin, the unimaginable grief, and through it all, or maybe because of it all, Twain also becomes this incredibly powerful social commentator.
Correct.
How did all that life experience fuel his critiques? Mm-hmm. And what is it about his views, like the anti-imperialist stuff, the anti-racism, that Chernow highlights as still feeling so relevant today?
That's a really key part of the book. Chernow digs deep into Twain's anti-imperialist, pro-labor, and anti-racist views. And what's so compelling is the inherent contradiction, right? Here's a white Southerner raised with racism who evolves into this incredibly sharp critic of, well, colonialism, injustice, even church dogma.
Quite the transformation.
It really is. It speaks to his maybe relentless honesty, even about his own upbringing. Chernow has this great insight. He invented a language for American democracy, irreverent, ironic, and utterly honest.
A language for American democracy. I like that.
Yeah. And why does it resonate now, to your question? I think it's because Twain's critiques of power, of race, of wealth, they just still resonate today. He was absolutely fearless, in calling out hypocrisy wherever we saw it. So his voice, even though it's from, a completely different time, it still speaks directly to these fundamental issues of justice, inequality, the way power can corrupt, things we're still grappling with right now.
Right. The issues haven't gone away. And that really brings it full circle. Chernow gives us this complete picture, doesn't he? A truly nuanced understanding of Mark Twain. He wasn't just the funny guy. He was the flawed genius, the grieving father, the fearless critic. And understanding that whole person, the man behind the books we all know, it really does enrich how we read him. It connects his specific struggles, his triumphs, to, well, broader human experiences that maybe we all recognize in some way. So here's something to leave you with, a final thought to chew on. Think about how Twain, this man so full of contradictions, a cynic who kept hoping, a jester carrying deep grief. How does he still manage to speak so powerfully to our big issues today? Issues of power, identity, justice in our own pretty complex times. What does his journey, his life, tell us about the kind of courage it takes to laugh at ourselves and at society, even when we're facing down profound loss and just blatant hypocrisy? Something to think about.